It's your boy Izzy'z Jones, man. Welcome to a brand new episode of Izzy'z Corner. This week I'll be reviewing a brand new comic released in May 1993 by Milestone Media entitled Icon. She's got your hero right here. Mint condition, if I might add. For sure. Before I get into this issue, I just want to shout out to a couple people. Shout out to Pressure Clothing Line, brand new clothing line. You can shop right now at PR355URE.com. Go shop with them right now. Black-owned businesses. That's who this episode is brought to you by. I'm in a brand new Pressure tee. Y'all saw the butterfly on the back. Yes, that's how we giving it up. Also, I'd like to shout out to Milestone Media and all of the dudes over there who started a black-owned comic books company. Shout out to everybody over there. You guys keep pressing on. You guys set the grounds for a lot of black people and a lot of black artists and creators to come into this industry like this and explode and be able to share our true experiences. So I just want to say shout out to y'all, and we about to get right into it. So in May 1993, Milestone Media, they published a new comic book line, I'd say, launching 4 different titles. And they launched Static, The Blood Syndicate #1, which I reviewed with y'all, Icon, which I'm about to go over right now, and Hardware, issue #1. So those are going to be the 4 comics that I set up for me to decode the Decoderverse. It's one thing I've yet to see in a broad spectrum, really breaking down what happened. So this is me opening you all up to the Decoderverse. Before I also go into anything that happened in this issue, I'd like to shout out everyone who was involved in the creation of this book that was listed within the credits. By their own bootstraps, I like to thank Dwayne McDuffie, the writer, the penciler, M.D. Bright, the inker, Mike Gustafich, the letterer, Steve Dutro. I like to shout out also the colorist, Rochelle Menashe, James Sherman, and Noel Giddens. Allow me to take you back, way back. I mean, 127 years ago, in fact. Deep in the star ranges of distant space, the year is 1893. And we're viewing upon a vast spacecraft with the mass of the Statue of Unity in India. But it seems that it's being blasted and attacked in the midst of war. In a bay or a hall, we see a group of different colored sentient beings with different means and appearances. Some green with headdresses, some red, robotic. Others made of complete stone and brolic. But our focus is on this being in the middle. It's blue, it's muscular in its tone. It has webbed toes, webbed feet, and it's jumping and escaping through an inevitable destruction around itself. Even in some panels, you can see a large enemy in the back, completely vaporizing the opposition. I mean, kaput, you know? And as he's running through the corridor, he comes upon a hole blasted through a wall that views an escape pod, only fit for one. On the next page, as the ship engages, the walls around him, what seemed to have been something important to his life, whether it was a space station or a home, is inevitably ceasing. Kind of sad if you ask me. But he has no time because the pod accelerates out of the tube lodged for the escape pods within the spacecraft as the inside implodes and the outside continues to get more and more fire. Now we view over a shining light over a field, and it's a woman within the shack, and she's woken up by this light piercing through her window. Now we see this shining light, which is this escape pod or spacecraft, you might say, is coming over a field, and the more houses that we view, we can now see that in 1893, this was a slave quarter. Distant far from the field, the space pod crashes, and it emanates an incredible force of light, and I think sound as well. Now the woman who viewed upon this shining light runs through a cotton field filled with purple cotton stubs. As she engulfs herself within the smoke, she discovers this foreign object, but she is not afraid. she is strong, the force of the black woman. As she leans in closer towards the light, she simply reaches her hand out and touches the craft. And a blue luminescent light engulfs her and the craft. The blue beam from inside this escape pod views the woman. The woman stares back at the craft. And in a sudden, it's like the sentient being completely morphs. His molecules are breaking down and as if they're rearranging. And the pod blasts open with another crazy, strong force of light. But what's inside the pod is now a boy. A baby boy. A black baby boy. She takes the baby boy and leaves the pod. The next time we see anything about this woman, it is 1993. And she is nothing but a distant memory. Mind you, everything I showed you so far, it has been a figment. And boasting to the mind of a man who had seemed to be on the run from the fight, that little old baby boy. But it's 100 years later and he's still on earth, but he doesn't seem to have aged a day over 40. In the law's office with high windows and golden ceilings made of glass, we see Augustus ponder over shackles from his past as he's living a new life. I'm a little surprised he still has them though, you know, like I'm just being honest, like damn, they lasted 100 years and they ain't got no rust. He kept good care of them shits. You feel me? And it's a white man who busts in to remind Augustus that they have this caseload to work over. Like, you need to get your shit together. And Augustus apologizes because he's been caught daydreaming. And back in the 90s, I guess it was okay to do this, but they tried to make a gag. And I must read this gag to you guys. They try to be a little dirty, you know what I mean? And the guy who walks in the room is a white man. He says, if you're thinking about women, I suggest you put away the handcuffs, at least until the second date. And then Augustus says, that's an extremely poor taste, Saul. Why am I not surprised? I have to admit though, I was thinking about a woman. And this guy Saul says, really? Well, our sole responsibilities as officers of the court can wait. Dish the dirt, partner. Yo, did he just say use handcuffs on the second date? Wow. On the next panel, we see Augustus and Saul walking outside of the court building. And Augustus says, I met a young girl recently, impoverished, impassioned, angry. She sees the world very differently than I do. Saul jokes and says, most people do, with the possible exception of Rush Limbaugh. Now let me tell you, Rush Limbaugh is an ex-political reporter, podcaster, figure, radio broadcaster. And he's once most famously known for saying that he doesn't believe in the consent of sexual relations. And it is the magic to the key of the left. I feel sorry for Augustus for having to do business with this man because he just made like a very terrible joke. Like, I get the satire, look, don't get me wrong. But man, woo, I see what you did there. Don't trust me. Trust me. Now in the car, Augustus says, come on, Saul. You know, I mean, she sounds a great deal like someone we once worked with. And I feel like I have a duty to help people. And Saul just keep it real like, man, come on, we lawyers. We help people every day when we're not screwing them over. Lets you know something about the criminal justice system, don't it? Augustus still feels though that perhaps maybe it's more that he can do. And now we have an overview straight into the projects back on Paris Island. And we see a green Jeep pushing down the road. And inside a kitchen with white tile floor and dingy yellow furnishing, foldable chairs and the space table in the kitchen, we're introduced to a new character. She's fly, I tell you. Her name is Raquel. She's 15 with aspirations to write stories and literature like Toni Morrison, but it don't always get to go like that where she from. Getting in a car with 3 other dudes, and they about to go do something that is a little illegal, you feel me? Named Lenny, Deke, Noble. They all in the car with Raquel. And they all had an idea, the boys that is, to go hit a lick. Now, if you don't know what a lick is, let me break it down to you in the form of how they told it in the story. It's nice after the Big Bang and the cops are still out on patrol for, clean up, gang members, different things like that. So, it was that same night, if I'm not mistaken, the same night Static and all the Blood Syndicate and everyone got into the Big Bang. So, they are needed in the projects, the cops, and then I'm also needed in the burbs. So they plan is to go to the burbs in a place called Prospect Hills and break into a few houses, steal where they can steal TVs, money, jewelry, anything like that. And honestly, Raquel not really up for it. She like, yo, Noble, I ain't no thief. There's Noble behind the wheel. And he tries to bring her in like, maybe you'll find a typewriter in one of these rich white folks' house. Raquel is very ambitious because she's saying, I always wanted to be a writer like Toni Morrison, but I'm only 15 and I never had nothing to write about. Nothing ever had happened to me before, at least before this. And after Noble tells her, maybe you could come steal this typewriter out the house, she's like, I bet Toni Morrison got a typewriter though. And I bet these people do too. They pull outside a gated mansion on massive acres. I'm talking about, it looked like an old, how can I put it? Plantation house almost, you feel me? But there are purple skies and it's a big roundabout of the driveway out front. As they hop this fence in this gate, they head to the side of the house and one of the dudes disarms the alarm. The other dudes go and he pries through the front door in the lock. These guys ain't no amateurs. They ain't hit a couple licks before, moved a couple jugs. The cap ain't none, apparently. But upon entrance, all of them are stunned except for Noble. They're like, I only thought people lived like this on TV and wow, I can't believe somebody lives here. And Noble is more so like, yo, we gotta, quit gawking, like, we gotta get to it. So we're gonna split up, grab what you can. And he emphasizes, don't get caught because if you steal from white people, you go to jail. Specifically. Now Raquel comes into what looks like a master study, looking upon the shelves and shelves of books with a wall and a centerpiece painting. And this is how I knew that Raquel was special, because she has this inner rhetoric going on like, I'm not the kind of person who wants to be something just because somebody else has it. To tell the truth, I was more interested in looking around than taking anything until I saw the study. Whoever lived here had more than money. They had knowledge. They had history. And I wanted that more than I have ever wanted anything in my life. And she almost thinks, hey, maybe I can steal this computer, but by that time, she didn't even want to be there anymore. And from the distance, you hear Christina, you see Augustus walking through the study, saying as if he heard something. And it echoes through the walls as Raquel hides behind a wall shelving. Now, as Augustus walks out the study, he stumbles upon the 3 boys. 2 of them are carrying a TV and one trying behind him. And Lenny pulls his gun, like straight up, like pull it on him. Kind of like startled, But he like, oh shit, man, it's just the butler. And Noble's like, man, come on, Lenny, put it away. We ain't come here to hurt nobody. But as soon as he put the gun down, Noble raised his gun up. Like, I know you gotta make a living, so do we. You know, like these white folks not gonna be hurt. We stole their stuff, and it's so not worth dying. And Augustus is like, yo, you were mistaken on several accounts. Let me break down to you how. For one, I don't work here, bro. For two, this is my house. For three, that's my shit. And for four, I do not intend on you taking it. That's a quote. Like, he said, I do not intend on you taking it. So, he meant business. Raquel tries to stop Noble as he's holding the gun straight to Augustus's face. And this nigga Noble like, man, you bougie ass motherfucker. Like, come on, bro. And as Augustus reaches his hand out to say, I will not take that language in my house and possibly take the gun, bam! Noble let one off straight in his chest. Oof. Augustus hits the ground, and the look on the face of Raquel and Noble is like a mixed whirlwind. It's, confusion, fear, reality setting in. And they shocked because Augustus don't stay down. You wanna know what he say when he get up, man? First of all, he got up from a straight blow to the chest. I'm talking about close range. This is going quite far enough. Nigga, what's too far? If that was quite far enough. Man, I don't even want to know what his limits are. You feel what I'm saying? And Lenny, Deke, and Raquel dart out the house like, yo, fuck this. But Noble like, stay back with his gun still in. Augustus charging at him like, you know what I'm saying, man, just drop your gun, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just drop your gun. And bang, bang. He let off another one, bro. Bang, bang. He let off the whole clip. It's 4 blams. It's 4 blams on this page. He lets off the rest of his bullets damn near, except for maybe he had a 6. Bro, with the little revolver, man. 4 shots to the face. And Augustus just literally grabs the gun and crushes it. And darts out the house behind the other 3 kids. And chases them down. And as Raquel is jumping the fence to the ground, he picks her up by the coat jacket and puts her in the field with the other 3. But what's really important about this chase scene is the realization of Raquel. And she's like, you know, in school I read a book called The Song of Solomon. And in the whole book is like Solomon wanted to fly, but not like in an airplane, but like, you know, for real. And in the book, though flying didn't mean flying, it meant something like freedom, you know what I mean? And she said she never understood the book until she saw that. When you can fly, there's no burden you can't bear. When you can fly, gravity can't hold you. It can't touch you. When you can fly, you can do anything. And Augustus is like, man, I really don't, listen to me carefully. I don't have any patience for criminals. And that's exactly what you are, but being as though I would like this to not get out there to the public, I'm gonna let you go. But in the future, I expect you to comport yourself like citizens. You know, if you want something, pay for it. If you can't afford it, work for it. Your behavior reflects poorly on our community and on yourselves. And then you're like, fuck you, man. Bruh, you got on a bulletproof vest. That's the only explanation. So next time I'll just shoot you in the face. And I kind of get real serious and he's like, I hope what you pulling out your pocket is chocolate because whatever it is, I'm going to make you eat it. Lenny is shook, bro. I'm talking about shook. All of them standing looking up at him and he's like, and everything y'all stole tonight, you're going to return to the rightful owner. And if you don't, I'm going to see you again. You commit another crime. I'm going to see you again. Now, I don't know if the rest of them believed him, but Raquel sure did. Now back in the Parents Island high-rises, Rocky's getting the ass torn off from her mama talking about how she came home late. But Rocky's just purely inspired by the possibility of flight. And the next day she comes to see Augustus as he's working at his home in his study. And she tells him the plan. Now, this is the first time ever in comic book history where I've seen a sidekick make the hero a hero. Usually it's the hero with his own predisposed reasons, or it's the hero already heroing and the sidekick is inspired and wants to be a sidekick to the hero, or the hero needs a sidekick and they're looking for that sidekick and the sidekick don't want to fuck with them. Never the sidekick telling the hero, come do this shit. That's always the kicker for me in this book. And but Gus is not really feeling it. You know, he's like, man, what does icon mean? And she's like, it's like an example, like the ideal. And he's like, you know, people don't need my example. You know, they don't need any example. If they aren't doing well, then they haven't tried hard enough. People need to do more like what I did and pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And Raquel is like, well, it's easier to pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you already know how to fly. She goes home and she said, man, you know, I never thought I'd see him again. But 2 days later, he appeared at her house with a suit, with his belt, with these crazy powers. And we're going to get into that later. But he does say, you know, she'll meet him at the bridge in like 3 weeks. So 3 weeks pass, and we find Augustus meeting her on top of the Paris Island Bridge, you know, in the Blood Syndicate. That bridge I showed you guys that I was talking about. That was completely destroyed and dismantled, yeah. And he says, the child's words ring in my ears, echoing similar words spoken by my wife so very long ago. Back then I ignored her wisdom, but now I wonder, how could they live like this? How could I let them? I pretended that those who suffer under such conditions must have brought them upon themselves. As he's walking through a neighborhood and he sees a baby in a diaper playing with a stick in a puddle. He sees kids running down the street playing in the trash as if it's like pillars or something. And he says, while they have lived without hope, I have lived a lie, that he has. And with the recent riots, they have provided an ample symbol of hopelessness. Now, I'm not going to say that that's true to all riots, but they do and they can, especially today. Some people feel hopeless in hopeful times, and some people feel hopeful in hopeless times. So it's all a matter of perspective, you know? And she's reading, Raquel's already on top of the bridge reading the W.E.B. Du Bois quote, and it says, the Negro race, like all races, is going to be saved by its exceptional men. Not just males, but women, men, children, trans. It is the problem of developing the best of this race that they may guide the mass away from the contamination and death of the worst in their own and other race. Now, Augustus is like, I'm more of a Booker T. Washington fan, but you know, I feel you. And but he's like, but there's no time for literature discussion right now. It's been a little situation going on downtown. And he's kind of iffy about the costumes, but who cares? The costumes are fire. And on the next page we come, and now they're flying over old downtown, City Hall. And there are like a lot of cops out there. And Rocky like, hold on, wait, what you doing, bro? What, we finna just fly down there to 80 in the middle of 80 Brazilian cops and ask them for a hand? Like, do they need some help? And I kind of like, essentially, yeah. And Rocket is like, hey, I'm the sidekick. I'm supposed to be the naive one. What do you think? A bunch of cops are just down there waiting for a flying nigga to fly down and help them do their job? He's like, watch your language, young lady. Everything don't have to be racial. Okay. And I kind of like, even the officer as they land, and the officer like, yeah, you supposed to be. I'm Icon, I'm here to help. Is that so? Yeah. Fuck. Well, you can help me by putting your hands above your head and don't fucking move. And Rocket like, don't assume everything's racial, huh? I bet this never happened to Superman. Just take that in. I bet this never happened to Superman. The coldest closing one-liner I've ever read. Come on now. Yo, I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in to a new episode of Izzy'z Corner. This episode we went over Icon, issue number 1. She's got your hero right here. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Next week we'll be back with another episode of Izzy'z Corner comic book review. I want y'all to stay safe, stay blessed, and stay fresh. Peace.